Welcome to Whatif tutorials. In this tutorial we'll be looking at Whatif utilities, including startup, login, company details like name, address, users, creation and management thereof, databases, creating databases and selecting, and Whatif activation. This is the login screen once Whatif has been activated, and in it you enter your username and password. Since there is only one user detected, then this is grayed out as it is unnecessary, being only one user in the system. Likewise, the database folder, there is only one database folder, namely the sample data, when Whatif is first started, so there's no need to look up any and select any of the other databases because there aren't any. Click Start. This is the user folder screen. In it there's a user folder shown. Since there's only one user, there is no need to select a user. We click Log On. This is the main menu of Whatif. You'll notice here that there's reference to a common folder. This folder is created when Whatif is installed, and it is used to store common data. The user name is shown, and the database that has been selected on startup, namely the sample data, is shown. Let's now have a look at our utilities menu, setup, and select company name details. This must be created initially for you to be able to produce quotes. Your company name, your address, phone, fax, email. This shows up on the quote. Now you have the option to show a logo or not. If there's no logo involved, you can click no logo, or if there is, you can select a logo from your computer. Click OK. Next, I'd like to talk about users, user setup. You'll notice there's one user here only. The username, password, his user folder shown. If this is the administrator, then it's ticked, and since there's only one user, he must be the administrator, and the administrator has access, but these ticks indicate access to the modules. Let's create a new user. We'll enter a user name, password. This can be changed by the user later. His name, phone number if necessary, and click the modules to which he has access. Obviously, you must have purchased, when you activated Whatif, you must have purchased at least these two modules to tick. If you can tick these, but it won't have any effect if you haven't activated those particular modules with your license. Click OK. OK, and now we'll create a user folder. We select which user folder we're going to use to copy to the new user folder. So the user folders can be copied from one to another, to one user to another, to create a new user. So we'll use rods and create rods, copy rods to Max. So we'll call his folder Max, and it will be created within the common folder, so that all databases and users folders exist within the common folder. Click Create User Folder, create folder as above, and the system then copies all the necessary files from rod to Max. So there we have a new user created. Now, as far as users are concerned, you can check users logged on at any time by clicking Users Logged On. Since there's nobody in any of the modules of this current database, nothing is shown up. But as soon as another user comes on to, say, the costing module, his name will appear here, and there'll be one user there, and so on. When he logs out of the module, it will disappear. So you have a maximum, in this case, of 5 users for costing. When it exceeds 5 users, you need to consider purchasing another license, or you need to get existing users, which will be shown here, out of the system to allow another user to come in. Now I'd like to look at databases. When we started off, there was one database, the sample database. We now want to create a new database, and we do this by copying from an existing database. So we'll be copying from the sample data to a new database. We give the new database a folder name, and we give it a description. We check that that's right, and once again the database folder is created within the common folder, and we click that, create folders above, and all of the files necessary are copied in. So now we have created a new database folder. If we want to now go into that folder, we simply say come in here and point to the new folder and go use. You have selected another database, and you'll now see that the database that you are in has changed from the sample to the new. So at any time you can change and switch between databases once they've been created. Finally, I'd like to have a look at activation. When you have downloaded Whatif in the first place for evaluation, if you decide to purchase it, you can activate it by getting an activation code and entering it here. You can look at the existing licenses you may have, if any, and then put in your activation code and click activation check. Once you have activated the system, you need also to get a receipt confirmation, that is, that the system has been paid for. You will get that receipt confirmation from your provider when he receives payment. Meanwhile, you can cancel out of there because you have a date before which or after which unless payment is received, the system will not work, but it will work up until that date and when you can get the code. So we'll cancel out of there, and that concludes this tutorial.